Welcome to Santa Clarita Voices, where you hear the stories, meet the people, and discover the passion that makes Santa Clarita shine. From hidden heroes, local legends, and the visionaries shaping our future, we are uncovering the voices behind the scenes. Santa Clarita Voices is on air.
Welcome to the City of Santa Clarita's podcast, Santa Clarita Voices. I'm City Manager Ken Striplin. As you can see today, we are doing something a little bit different. We are taking Santa Clarita Voices on the road to talk summer fire safety with our LA County Assistant Fire Chief, Pat Sprengel. How you doing, Chief?
Good. Thanks, Ken. Thanks for having us.
So, Chief, where have you brought us today?
So this is Tesoro Hillispot. This is one of our newest helispots in LA County. And while they're building the community of Tesoro, they've added a helispot here for us. The helispot is used for refilling of our aircraft when we have a wildland incident. Quick refill of our aircraft so we can get aircraft returned to the fire.
Great, great. Well, as you are well aware, fire safety and fire prevention and anything fire related is a big topic now, based on the last couple of months. And I know that you personally spent a lot of time at the Eaton fires, the Palisade fires, in addition to being the fire chief here for Santa Clarita for a number of years. So in the wake of those two fires, Eaton and Palisades in particular, people are more on edge than ever. So I think this is why we're doing kind of the special podcast to bring people out to see what you see as a firefighter, as a fire chief, to give some of the insights and advice on how they can be better prepared, but also more importantly, how we are preparing the community in the event of a wildfire. So with that, what resources does the Los Angeles County Fire Department have on hand to protect lives and property?
So going into the fire season, our fire season typically starts this time of year, June, July. We will ramp up for the fire season. So that means increase in engine companies, increase in hand crews, increase in dozers and helicopters like the one you see behind us here. And as the fire season progresses, we will increase as the fire weather or the fire predictions for fire weather increase.
That's great. And I think that, kind of begs the question or gives an answer to one of the questions that we get periodically is, how come Santa Clarita as a big city doesn't have their own fire department? And the difference is what you're talking about is the amount of resources that are available all across Los Angeles County, so that if something happens, you have the ability to draw on those resources and pull those extra companies down here, the resources, the fire, the helicopters like you see here, which is an amazing resource for you as a fire chief when you're responsible for thousands and thousands of open space and brush.
Absolutely, and as those fires get larger, we'll also have the ability to utilize master mutual aid. We also have the ability to work with the state and the feds to get additional aircraft. We get fixed wing aircraft from the state resources and the federal resources to assist us when those fires do get big. So we have a deep resource rich opportunity to put the best resources on the fires that we get here in Santa Clarita, and it's a very high wildfire busy area.
Yeah, and as I've been around a few fires here in Santa Clarita myself, and I've seen over the years the evolution of fighting these wildfires, these huge fires that start very small and end up very large. One of the big things that has changed over probably the last 10 years, maybe less, is the use of helicopters and these air resources that you mentioned. So walk us through the process of bringing out a helicopter like this, the camp crew that's actually standing behind us right now, and what those responsibilities look like.
So we're fortunate in LA County to have the resources that we do to attack these fires. And at the end of the day, the quicker we can get resources there and catch the fires when they're small, that is our goal as a fire department, is to capture them when they're small and knock them out as fast as we can. And that's what we do. We put an aggressive attack on them with engines, hand crews, dozers, and helicopters. And we get to work on them quick. As you saw, as the crew came in, we will bring 11 personnel in this aircraft. We will deliver them to the fire quickly, and then this aircraft will turn right into water dropping capabilities. So this aircraft itself carries 1,000 gallons of water and is able to pick up water in about 45 seconds or so and return to the fire. So this aircraft will drop the crew, they'll go get water, they'll come back and they'll support the crew as the crew's working on the perimeter of the fire.
So you talked about the 11-man crew and them coming in and doing that. As we watched the crew exit the helicopter, they kind of went over and huddled over on the side a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about what the purpose of that and why they do that?
Yeah, so as the crew comes into a fire, or like they did here, they will exit the aircraft, and they'll all huddle together safely alongside of the aircraft until the aircraft is able to take off. Once everybody's huddled down into their group there, they're communicating with each other, and then the aircraft takes off when it's safe to take off. Once they take off, then the crew will get their tools, unpackage their tools, and get to work on the fire. They'll be working on the fire very, very quickly as the aircraft goes and gets water and comes back and supports them on the perimeter.
Good. Well, you talked about the efficiency of dropping the crews, running, getting watered within 45 seconds, loading up and being ready to come back and drop. Tell us a little bit about the infrastructure that you personally have really spearheaded in the last 4 or 5 years to get that infrastructure. What does it look like? Where is it throughout the community, and how has that helped your reaction to some of these smaller ones that could have been big that you were able to put out very quickly?
So what we've done here in Santa Clarita is we have put water where we don't necessarily have water. So these aircraft here, they'll pull water from rivers, ponds, the aqueduct, areas where they can pull water from. Where we don't have water, what we've done here in Santa Clarita is we put these water tanks. We make water tanks accessible so the aircraft can quickly grab water and return to the fire. We have 7 of them set up here in Santa Clarita. And again, that just gives us a better opportunity to catch the fire while it's small, or to return water to the fire quickly.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Sometimes people say, well, you need to put fire hydrants in all the open space, which really isn't feasible, but this is the next best step of having that water availability where you don't have it. And the reality is we're probably looking at over, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of acres of open space, of wildland that surround the Santa Clarita Valley, including the Angeles National Forest and so on. So having things like this is the next best way to prepare you to build that infrastructure to be reactive and fight those. So you guys are doing a great job when the fires break out. As I mentioned, there's been times we've had these little starts in high fire areas that, we're all kind of on edge waiting to see where it's going to go. And then 30 minutes later, we get the phone call from you saying, hey, we're mopping up, we're good, we got a handle on it, which is a great relief. But that quick reaction makes such a big difference because, 15 acres could have been 50,000 acres in really the matter of seconds, right? So when a fire does break out, what do you want residents to be prepared to do?
Okay, so a couple things. So residents in Santa Clarita need to know we live in a wildfire community. We need to be prepared. Preparation is everything. So first off, as we go into the season, most of us have gotten brush inspections completed. And that is getting your home ready. That means that as we try to get people out of those communities, we want you to be able to leave your home and your home survive a wildland fire. So that is making sure that trees are trimmed up, trees are brought back off the roof line. That's making sure that tree litter and so forth is taken out of the valleys of our roofs, cleaned out of our gutters. That's making sure that tall grasses are cut down. Just preparing ourselves so that we don't have areas that a fire can catch and then catch homes on fire. So we want to be prepared in that way. The second area of preparation is with ourselves. So that's where we utilize Ready, Set, Go. Ready, Set, Go is a wildfire action plan for the public that is set so that we've got ways that we can follow it. So the ready part of it is making sure our home is ready and prepared. The set part of it is making sure ourselves are prepared. That means the paperwork you need to grab. You need the important stuff if you do get evacuated. That's making sure that we have a place to send our pets or take our pets. That means that we are totally prepared if or when we have to evacuate. And the last part of Ready, Set, Go is go. When it's time to go, we need you to get out. We need to make sure that our residents, when it's time to leave, you're ready to leave. And you're ready to be away for a bit. We will try to get residents back into those areas when it's not affected. But sometimes, like this last year, people need to go and they need to go quick. And we just need people to be able to get out of those areas, to get them out of the danger area, but also allow our firefighters to get in and help save their homes.
So our city is no stranger to devastating fires, and in recent years we've seen the Tick Fire, which forced the largest evacuation in city history. I think we had over 35,000 people that were evacuated from their homes. The Wildfire and the Hughes Fire. What can you share with residents about the behavior of fire in the Santa Clarita Valley, and getting to what you just talked about, the importance of evacuations? And if I live a couple miles away from the house and you guys are saying, hey, you need to be prepared to evacuate. And I'm looking at the fire and I go, the fire is 2 miles away. Talk about fire behavior and why that's so important when you call those evacuations.
So in my opinion, over the last 10 years, fires are burning more frequent. They're burning faster. They're burning hotter. And for whatever reason, climate change, what have you, it just seems like we're getting more dynamic fire behavior. So with that, we need to assure that residents are prepared, number one, and number two, they're ready to go when they need to go. Some of these fires that we're fighting, a Hughes fire is a perfect example of it. The fire is spotting well out in front of itself. With the winds that we're dealing with, we were dealing with 60, 70, 80 mile an hour winds on some of the fires this year. That is putting embers well out in front of the fire. It's going to be on top of residents before they know it. So we need to make sure that residents are prepared. When we're told to go, we need you to go and get out of that area. We're making judgments based on the fire behavior, and we're relaying that as fast as we can to get people out. It's not a quick process, so we need all the help we can get of, again, getting people out so we can get our folks in to help fight these fires.
Yeah, when you guys are, we're at the command center and there's a ton of resources there, a lot of different people from different agencies, and you guys are looking at all those different factors. You're looking at the wind, you're looking at previous fire history of where fires have gone and what those patterns tend to be. So there's a lot of inputs that go in that. It's not just a, hey, let's just, say 2 miles out and make everyone leave because we want to be safe for ourselves, but it's really based on a lot of different factors. And a big part of that is the fire history. And you look at Santa Clarita and we'll see as we go up, there's a lot of places where the fires have burned persistently, right? There's a fire, almost like a route which they typically take. But I want to focus back on the evacuation part and the fire being ahead of itself. I remember, I think it was the Sand Fire, where it was started on the east or the, I guess, northeast. And those embers, and the fire didn't have wind like we saw with Eaton in the Palisades. It wasn't 80, the anomaly type event where it was 80, 90 miles. It was a normal weather day. And some of those embers were jumping a mile and a mile and a half down Sand Canyon. And that fire really took off and became a much bigger thing. And again, I think we lost someone in that fire because of failure to evacuate. But I want to emphasize that when we call for the evacuations, you may not see the fire that close, but emphasize that embers and how one ember can start a whole new fire ahead of you guys.
Yep, it's we're looking at these fires, and again, we're making the predictions to get people out. We're not moving people until we need to move people, but when we do, it's time to go. And again, it might not seem like you're right up against the fire, but you're in a dangerous spot if we're getting you guys to move. So we need people to get ready to go and to go. And again, as residents in Santa Clarita, we need to be responsible. You live in a wildfire area, you need to be responsible. And part of that is making sure that when we tell you to go, it's time to go and get out. Again, with the how dynamic these fires are, we get extremely low humidities and a little bit of wind or a little bit of fuel or brush, and stuff moves through there. So we are doing everything we can to keep our residents safe, but we also need buy-in from the public also.
Very good. So seeing it from the air really paints a picture of how fast these fires have spread and how challenging your job really has become based on all the different conditions and things that you just mentioned. What goes through your mind when you see weather reports, especially like the ones we saw in January with the life-threatening conditions, wind conditions that created those other wildfires?
Yeah, so when we see those weather conditions, we prepare. We ramp up heavily with the fire department. That's getting our resources in place, getting our personnel in place, and assuring that we're ready to support the communities. We'll move up strike teams into the areas. We'll add additional aircraft to our fleet so that we can get a better jump on some of these fires. We'll do the same thing with dozers, engines, and hand crews. So we'll be prepared on our side, and again, we're monitoring that weather daily and making sure that we're making good decisions based on the weather predictions.
Great. So you live near the Eaton Fire, and I want to thank you because I know personally having dealt with you and multiple conversations over the 2 or 3 weeks that those fires went on, knowing that you pretty much spent 24/7 on that fire for probably 2 weeks straight. You live there, you've been involved with that. Your firefighters were certainly impacted by that. Just a devastating fire for that community and for the region. How do you manage the personnel concerns versus your job?
It can be difficult at times. our firefighters, a lot of them work in the places that they live and they serve. And they have homes, they have families, homes and families also. Um, our firefighters during that fire siege worked for basically 2 weeks straight. Every personnel that could work for LA County Fire was working for those 2 weeks straight until we got through that. And they know that we need to step up and get the communities through that. But we also know that they have families and communities also. So it's a challenge with a lot of us working in the areas that we live, and it's part of the job, I guess.
You guys did a tremendous job on that, and I think our community was largely a benefactor of the resources that were available during those fires, because as we all know, as those were kind of mopping up and kind of being tamped down or so, the fire that we had out here in Castaic broke out, which was going towards residential neighborhoods. A lot of brush, a lot of wind at that time as well. You guys did a miraculous job of getting that down within a couple of days or a day and a half. And tell us how that happened.
Yeah, so on the back end of the Eaton, the Palisades, and some of those other larger fires we had the Hughes Fire. Hughes Fire broke out about 2 weeks later, and or a week or two later. And when that Hughes Fire broke out, we had a lot of resources here in Southern California that were able to put on that fire and really jump on that fire quickly and aggressively. And that's what puts the fires out. So again, we're going to put an aggressive attack on it anytime we can, keep the fire small the best that we can. And that time of year, we typically get some challenging fires, as you know. And it's us working with the city, working with the residents. It's all of us as one team doing the best we can to stay safe and get ourselves through the fire season.
Great, good. Well, the thing is with wildfires is when there's a massive fire around or in the community, wildfire prevention and how you react to wildfires is at the top of everyone's mind. And then as we kind of move past that time, it kind of falls down the priority list of what people are focusing on. So I really appreciate you helping residents understand, hey, we need to focus on this stuff now, not when a fire is 5 miles away from us looking at some of this stuff. And I hope that the community has a good understanding of when you do fire prevention, or we all get those letters from the fire department saying, hey, you need to clean your brush. There's a purpose for that. And Absolutely. It ultimately does have a major impact on how you guys are able to do your job and save lives and property along the way. So Chief, we talked about the effect it had on the people that were involved in the fires, the firefighters and everyone else. What was the community's reaction to you guys after that all kind of settled down and things got normal?
So I would say post the fire siege, or right after the fire siege, the overwhelming support of the public and really of everyone on the West Coast of the United States, really. It was an outpouring of support for our personnel and for the community itself. The community took an extreme hit, and it was really good to see the outpouring of human kindness and just support of our personnel and the community itself. It was unbelievable. Nothing like I've ever seen before.
Yeah, and that's great. And I think we've talked about it on and off, and don't want to underestimate the appreciation we have for you, but that reaction I think was the same for, again, all of the partners. Law enforcement, I think when we talk about fighting fires, people don't think as much about law enforcement and the huge role that they play. And the reality is the fire department calls for evacuations, and then the sheriff's department are the ones that are responsible to go out and make sure everyone evacuates, gets safe, and then protects the communities behind them to make sure no one's coming in behind, looting homes or doing anything that they shouldn't be doing there either. But I also want to extend that appreciation. Animal control is a big part of firefighting. The City of Santa Clarita, all of the personnel that we do support the fire department is a big part of that response and what happens. And so, like I said, CAL FIRE, there's just so many of them that happen to participate in that. And I think as a community, we are so lucky to have so many different agencies that come together, work so well together, and again, protect the lives and property of the Santa Clarita Valley. So obviously we're getting into the summer season. It's going to start getting warmer. Not today, obviously we lucked out. But for 4th of July is just around the corner, which is always a big deal for us here in Santa Clarita. What message do you want to send to residents as we come upon that holiday?
So the biggest one going into the 4th of July is be responsible. Fireworks are not allowed anywhere in Santa Clarita. We just need you to be responsible, celebrate, but celebrate responsibly.
Yeah, I think we've tried different campaigns throughout the years. We try to emphasize that they're not legal, that they are illegal. We get a lot of phone calls. I think the Sheriff's Department, it's one of the largest single days of phone calls, because it's not just what people call safe and sane, where they're in their front yards, with sparklers and stuff. We're getting these major types of fireworks and things that are aerial, that they're in there, you can see across the valley. And tell us what risk does that put out for the community and residents in the area?
So in our area, we have wildland all around us. We have receptive fuel beds all around us that will take any source of ignition. It doesn't matter what kind of firework, big, small, what have you. Any source of ignition will start a fire, and we're in fire season now. The brush is dry enough now to carry fire, and we are in the season. So we need to be extremely responsible as we celebrate during the 4th of July and stay away from any type of firework.
So we are once again teaming up for the Summer Fire Safety Press Conference on June 20th. What can people expect from that day?
Ken, I'm excited about the safety press conference coming up. We'll have some of our resources that we utilize here in LA County, our aircraft, of course, that we have behind us here. We'll have some of our dozers. We'll have our engine companies, our hand crews out there, just on display to show the residents what we utilize during the year. In addition to that, we'll have some of our partners from neighboring agencies to be there with us, because again, we utilize them also as we go into the season. I think we'll have some goats this year like we did last year. We utilize the goats up here in Santa Clarita for brush mitigation, to take care of some of those fuels going into the fire season, so that we're prepared and it lessens that ignition source. The goats are always a hit.
The goats are always a hit.
Yeah,
I think, if we can get them jackets like this and put them out there, that would be, they were such a hit that I think the first year that we did it, the goats escaped.
We had a small stampede, yeah.
Yeah, we had goats running down the old road. So
we were able to catch them quickly though, and get them before they got.
So we're learning. They don't listen as well as firefighters.
No. Oh, well, about the same probably.
Well, that's awesome. So anyway, yeah, we're looking forward to it. We hope a lot of people tune into it. They listen to the information, because every 4th of July is absolutely an opportunity for either an amazing holiday for people can celebrate with their families, or it can be a major devastating firefighter that has an impact on the community and individuals. I also want to emphasize, as you're talking about protecting the community, these things that you're talking about, it's also about protecting the firefighters, the lives of the firefighters who go home to their families, the lives of the law enforcement personnel who are there helping and assisting, CAL FIRE, who's also there on a lot of these things, a ton of other agencies, including the city. So it's not just about protecting a house, it's about protecting lives of not only the people that are out in the community, but also the firefighters and everyone who risk their lives, the men and women every single day of these different agencies. So I want to emphasize that it's not just other people's lives that we're trying to make sure we're preserving. It's the people who are there, doing their jobs and keeping people safe.
Absolutely.
So Chief Sprengel, I can't thank you enough for the information that you've shared today. You've been a great asset to the city of Santa Clarita and the Santa Clarita Valley. Your experience, your leadership, like I said, your active leadership with the Eaton fires, the Palisade fires, and then coming right off of that and protecting us from the Hughes fire has been nothing short of monumental. So I want to thank you again for your service and everything that you do for the Santa Clarita Valley.
Ken, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And again, thank you for listening to Santa Clarita Voices. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Santa Clarita Voices. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share. You can find Santa Clarita Voices on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the city's YouTube channel. Follow the city on social media at City of Santa Clarita. We'll see you next time.